This is OXDF. I'm looking at admin of code day 4. Let's dive in. Uh, bingo. The giant squid plays bingo. Each consisting of 5 by 5 grid. Chose at random. If you win, all the numbers in a row or column are marked. Diagonals don't count. All right, we're actually going to play bingo here. So it looks like I'm going to be given a series of numbers and a series of bingo boards, and then I'm going to draw them one at a time. And then once I draw 24, there's a bingo here. And so at this point, I've got that row. The score of the winning board is calculated to find the sum of the unmarked numbers in the board. In this case, it's 188. Then multiply that by the number that was just called and get the value and return it. Which board will win first? All right. Let's open that up real quick. Puzzle input. Okay, just a bunch of bingo boards. There's not that many bingo boards. I mean, it's a lot, but it's not. It seems doable. Let's see. Don't worry about like memory or anything. XDF. Where's my? So we are at 04 input, and we'll come over here and grab this example as well. That'll be easier to work with. And let's go in here. So vim 04 example. Paste that. Okay. Vim j04.py. Start with our shebang. Import sys. The first thing we need to do is read in our boards and get them into get the numbers in the board. So it's gonna be a little bit more complicated this time. It's not just simply reading in every line. Let's see. Well, actually, we'll just lines equals f dot read lines, and then we'll do a loop up. So for line in lines. So actually, let's see. So we know numbers is equal to lines sub 0 dot split that. I believe they were comma separated. So that should give us. And let's make sure we don't want any hanging around. Oh, actually, I won't need it because what I'm going to do then. Let's see, line dot 0 split, and then we will list map int to that. I like to really test as I go, so we'll do Python 3 day4 04 example. Oops, and we'll add the dash I. We can see numbers is that looks good. Okay, so we're happy with that. Now we need to read in the boards. So we'll do for line in lines, and we'll start at 2. What's the easiest way to do this? Actually, I wonder if maybe we want to take every, maybe we just need to do. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, so we'll do boards equals that. So if line, so if there's something on the line, we will do board equals that. If line, I think the best way to, so there's 2 ways we could do this, right? We could read the board in and just keep the 5 by 5 grid. But since we know we're looking for columns and rows, I might do some extra processing now so that rather than having this 5 by 5 grid, if instead I have 10, so 5 rows and 5 columns, it'll be a little bit more data to store, but like not much. And then when I'm checking, I can just check each of those things and not, check if any of the 10 are solved and not have to worry about trying to manage columns and rows. And that might be a heck of a lot easier. So I'm going to try to do it that way. So let's see. So we'll do board equals that, and we'll do calls equals that. And then So if lines, if it's a line, we want to add it to the board. So we'll do board plus equals. Is that how? Let's see. I'm nervous now about how that's. Let's see. So we're gonna do the same thing we did up here. Actually, it's space separated this time, and it's like multiple space separated. That's a good. How do I split on one? Python split on multiple spaces. There we go. Let's string on white space. Oh, all right. Well, that will work just using split. I did not know that. You learned something new today. Cool. That makes that easy. So line nums equals line nums equals line dot split. Just like that should do it, I guess. Okay. So now we've got the numbers. So we're gonna add that to the board. I think it'll look like, I think we wanted to do it like this. Yeah, okay, that's what I want. So board.append line nums. And then I also want to keep the columns. And so I'm going to do calls dot append. I think what I want to do is, so if I have playing down here a little bit would what I really want to do here, I think, I'm trying to keep 5 more things. So what I'm going to do is what if I do, does that work? No. I'm just going to hard code it. Like that. And now I can do for n in line nums. What is the this feels ugly. I'm trying to figure out what the best way to keep. So what I'm trying to do is I wanted to create a thing of array, a list for each column, and then I want to just add so that they're gonna start off empty, and over the 5 rows they're gonna get added so that I get the I have another row that I can just another list of 5 that is the column. So what's the best way to do that for n in line numbers? I don't think that is for n in line. Let's see. So let's say I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's pretend that's the next column, the next row, right? So let's say line that line nums equals. There's my line, and let's say my calls. Let's pretend it already exists. So that's an easier case to think about. So let's say this is equal to like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 3. Okay. And so I want to find a way, what I want to do is basically make this go 4, 5, 1, 6, 7, 2, 8, 9, 3, etc. So what if I zip the 2? List, zip, calls, line, nums. So that will help me. I think that gets them together. It does. Now I need to figure out how to smash that down. I don't think this is what I want. Let's try. Let's see. No, that's not what I want at all. If I do x for x in I wonder what I don't think I can do this, but let's try. I need to close that. That does work. Okay, so what I did here is I looped over these objects right here, the tuples that were coming back. And right now so I have the first object is my list, and the second object is the number that I want to put into the list. And so I'm taking the first object, the list, and I'm expanding it so it becomes just a list of a series of objects, and then I'm just adding on to the end of it that. I wonder if I could also do something like that. Would that work? No, I can't concatenate. Oh, okay. So that is ugly. That's not readable. We're gonna do it anyway. So we're gonna say calls equals. And so then we do if not else. And in this case, what we want to do is we want to append. So we'll do board plus equals calls. And now I should have 10. That should give me all 10. And then we should do boards dot append board. And if that worked, I will come out of here with, in my test example, 3 board objects. Each board object will have 10 that will look like the columns. So let's run this and see how we do. Boards. That's not good. Let's save it. Try one more time just to make sure. Yeah, okay. Something is wrong. We're going to put a breakpoint at line, let's say 21. And run this. It never hits. Well, that's interesting. It's definitely getting there. I wonder if there's an empty line not. I never get to line 21. I confirm that, right? Let's see. Let's just double check. Yeah, I never get to that. Okay, so it's my check. That's weird. I thought for sure an empty line would return. We'll do our break. Let's check it out. Let's explore a little bit more. Breakpoint at line 15. So in this case, line is that. I don't care. Let's keep going. Line is that. Go a couple more times. Continue. Continue. Okay, so there's my line. Ooh, the line is true. I did not expect that. Dot strip. Okay, there we go. We'll do that. Always the spaces that bite you. Okay, so I added 2 boards. I wonder if I don't have trailing space. Vim 04. What really matters is, does my input have a trailing space? Does not. I guess given where I am right now, based on that. Okay, well this is kind of silly, but we'll do if line dot strip board plus equals calls boards dot append board. So basically what I'm doing is I'm getting to the end, and if the last line was not an empty one, then I'm going to go ahead and do the appending right there. So that is all just to get the boards right in. I think that's going to work. Let's try it. Okay. I clearly have 3 boards, which is what I was expecting. But I do not have 3 boards the boards I was expecting. So let's come back here. We're gonna put our break at line 20 and figure out what's going on. Boards at this point should be empty. Board, I think, should have 5 things in it, but it doesn't. Why does board empty? It is too early in the morning. I'm clearly not thinking well. Let's see. Oh, I'm not gonna be line 20 anymore. I probably want line 21 because I just had one. Okay, so I've read through 5 lines. Um, line numbs right now should be the old one. Yeah, it is. But it's not pending to board. Oh, I'm setting the board to blank after each one. Let's go board equals that, and then we'll come down here and we will reset it. Like that. Let's even get confident and run to the end here and do boards. Okay, so now I've got what board sub 0 look like. The first 5 look good. Let's do board sub 2 just because I have it on the screen. I guess I could have gotten 0 that way too. So 22, 14, 21, 17, 44, 16 through 19, 18 through 20. So the rows look good. My columns do not look good. So I need to pay attention to that. My len boards to at least 10. It is. Okay, so I've got the right number of things. I'm just not tracking them correctly. So let's come down here. And we want to break on, let's see. Actually, you know what we'll do? We'll do a break on this if statement again. That's on line 16. And that'll be the first thing first thing after columns is updated. And then it'll also let me go into the else when I get there. Okay, on line 16. So this time I should have nothing. Columns should just be empty. But now I can, because that's the first time I hit the if line strip. So now if I go again, I'm going to be back here, and I should have added the calls, and I didn't. So quit that, run again. List, we're here. If we next. So what we're going to do here is this. What is line nums? Okay. Let's build this out and see what it's doing. Hate when PDB hates doing lists. Let's see. Well, can I do this whole thing? That looks like what I want it to be. Oh, yeah, that looks good. If I do a next, so I'm at a place right now where I'm going to set calls equal to that. So if I do next, get calls, it looks good. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm doing the same thing. I just see it. I just saw it. I'm setting calls. I'm initiating calls here and not here. So I was doing it on each round of the loop. So it's getting kind of ugly, but there we go. That seems like I have a better chance of. Okay, the boards all look to be the right shape. So 22, 8, 21, 6, 1. And now the next one should be 22, 8, 21, 6, 1, 13, 2, 9, 10, 12. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so if you can see this right now, I've taken this board, handy print statement, and I've got the 5 rows, and then I've got the 5 columns all right here. And so I've got the boards all read in. So that's cool. So now I can, okay. Phew. I'm actually gonna use some comments here. So let's do read in boards. Now the next thing I want to do, I think I'm gonna do a function. Get up here, make def check board nums and board. So I'm gonna go for, I'm just gonna call it a row, but we know it's a row or a column. Board. So probably gonna be a list comprehension. I certainly can make it more readable. Not R for row and board. What I want to do is see if all of the things are in. So I really want to do it. Then I want to do for n in row. So that's getting the numbers. No, that's not what I want to do. We're going out of list comprehension mode. Okay, that's fine. For row in board. If, so here's what we're going to do. N for n in row. And we want to do if n in nums. So now what this is going to give me is a 5 long list, because each row is 5. And it's going to be if each of the 5 items is going to be a true or a false, representing if n is in the nums. And then so what I'm going to do is say if all, like that. So that means if for each row, I'm going to look and if all of the n's are in the num, if all of the n's are in the nums, then I've win. So I'm going to return true, return false. So now I've got a function that'll tell me if a board has won. Nice. So now I can do, okay, so now I'm going to do the cardinal sin of in Python, which is for I in range 5 comma len numbers. I don't need to check the boards at the very beginning. I'm gonna do for board in boards. I'll check board on numbers sub I, that, comma, board, if, check board number, if I get a winner board, what do I need to know? I need to get the sum. Okay, so let's get score. I wonder if we should calculate the score here. Yeah, let's probably do that here. So what we're going to do here is we're now going to, because I can, okay, so for m, we need to get all of the numbers that are on the board but are not in the nums. So that is going to be, so we're going to do x for x in rows. Let's not, yeah, okay. So I'm at this point now, I'm actually gonna start over with the whole board. So I'm gonna say, I wanna get the board down from a 2-dimensional thing, so like 5 rows of 5, or 10 rows of 5, down to one just list of numbers. And so the way to do that is it's just a complicated list comprehension. So we'll do I for I in board, for j in I. So we're gonna do like j for, I believe that should give me all of the numbers. If j not in nums sum there, and we will return that. And I can still do if check board because returning false versus returning, the sum is never going to be 0. So, so I can do score equals, oh, and I need to multiply it by the last number times nums sub minus 1. There we go. Print if store print part 1 store. And then I can break. I don't need to finish anymore. I have no idea if this is gonna work, but it feels really unlikely. Let's try it. Yeah, okay, that didn't work. Oh, I didn't. That's easy typo. That's a silly spacing error. We can get rid of these fast ones. So I guess we never hit. We'll break on line 38. So I'm now at I is that numbers sub I is the first 5 numbers. Let's continue a couple times and then we can step in. Numbers is not growing. Oh, I'm doing each board. Okay. Okay, we found this. So let's see, what board are we looking at here? 7, 4, where do we win? Which is where we can cheat and use our fact that we know the right answer. So we win on the top row of the third board. 14, 21. Okay, so we're in the right board. We're not far enough into the numbers yet. We need 24 to be drawn. So let's continue, continue, continue. 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 How much further do I have to go to get to 24? I'm at 0. I've got a bunch of ways to go. Cheat a little. What's I? I plus. Continue. So I made I a little bit bigger. Oh, that's not going to help me here in this for loop, I don't think. Oh, maybe it does. Okay. So this looks good. Board. Got the right board. Where am I in the... Okay, so what's next? Ooh, I don't know what I just did. Okay, new idea. We're gonna come up here and put a... This is ugly, but we're gonna do if nums sub minus 1 equals 24, import pdb dot set trace. Okay, so now I don't think this is the right board. It's not. Let's continue. It's not. Let's continue. There's our board that should win. And so here we are. We should, so 4 row and board. So if we do next, row is that, nums is that. Oh, I see it. You can see right here, our our boards are strings and our nums are numbers. Where do we screw that up? Let's see. We did not apply list map int like that. Okay, so we're back at the case where, here's where the case where we should be good. So if we list, we do board, our board is there, our nums are there. That now if we do next, see what this returns. Stupid debug. Let's expect this to step into, yeah, it worked. 9024? Does that sound right? Doesn't sound right. Dang. Getting closer though. We're at the right point at least. Let's run it back here again and see row. Okay, so we know we want this to. We're at the right place here. So we know nums sub -1 is 24, which is what we want. We want our sum to be 188. I wonder what. Oh, that was dumb. X equals nums. Do that. No. Why won't you let me do that? Debugger is very weird about that sometimes, but let's just put this here. 376. Let's get rid of the sum. See if we can figure it out. Okay, let's get rid of first. Let's go down here. We will do board looks like that. Oh, because I have everything in here twice. That is where here's back to the downside of why my optimizing earlier, now I can't treat the board as the 25 numbers. It's the 25 numbers in there twice. So I feel pretty confident. I only want the first 5 because that represents the whole board. So let's come down here. We're in board 5. I feel pretty good. So what I've done here, because my board is not actually all the numbers, it's all the numbers twice because they all show up in a row and a column. So if I just get rid of the extra stuff I tacked on, now I should be able to break is not good, but let's see, 45-12, the first time we win, 45-12. Why did I not break? Oh, because I need a double break. Get rid of this silly debug statement. That took me a lot longer than I expected it to. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Undo. 2dd. Okay, that took me a lot longer than I expected, but I think we got part 1. Whew, hopefully part 2 is not that much of a... Try to write. Hopefully part 2 is not as complicated, although you never know. Let's see, where am I putting this print? I don't need these prints anymore. Okay, 4115. What if I run on day 4 input? Do I get my 50,008? All right, that took longer than I was hoping, but okay. Part 2. On the other hand, it might be wise to try a different strategy. Let the giant squid win. You aren't sure how many he could play at once, so rather than waste time counting arms, the safe thing to do is figure out which board will win last and choose that one. Okay. That way, no matter which board he picks, it'll win for sure. The above example. Okay, so I need to now track. So basically, just what I had a minute ago, where I don't break. In the same loop. So now this actually, this is dangerous to predict, but this shouldn't be that hard. What I basically want to do is not, if not when, print that, and do when equals true. I'll remove this break. Actually, no, I won't remove this break because I still don't, I'm done with, no, yeah, I will remove this break. So So now I'm still going to be looping. I'm just only going to print the part 1 the first time. So I'm still going to do all the checking. And now what I need to do is figure out some way to track if boards are complete or not. I guess I could just remove them from an array, and then they won't be there anymore. I'm a little scared to mess with boards right in the middle of a loop over boards, though. That feels dangerous to me. So I'm gonna go for kind of really what I probably should do at this point is define a class called board, and I can have a function like called checkboard, and I can have a bool called has one, and by now I could now loop over boards and pass in numbers and just update their state or something. I could actually then have a class called game, which has all the board objects and it has the numbers, and then I can have these functions that are checking state and updating things. And that would be the neat way to do it. Maybe I'll look at, well, I probably won't come back to that, but that would be something if I wanted to spend another hour really polishing this up. I don't. I want to get this done quickly at this point. So what I'm going to do is call boards winner has one equals this. And basically I'm just going to come down here. Once I have all my boards, I'm going to has win equals false for board in boards. I don't even need the board. I'm going to loop over the boards. I'm going to create a parallel structure that is the same length, and it's going to all be false, and it has it 1. And so then I'm down here. I'm going to do enumerate boards, and so now we'll have a for j comma boards in enumerate boards. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say if has win sub j continue. So basically, if I've already won on this board, I don't need to keep checking it. And then I'm going to come down here at the end of the so if I win, I'll do has win sub j equals true. So once a board wins, I mark it as 1. Let's see. I still need the score of the last win. So every board will win. Okay, good. Now what I can do is if all has win. So now every board is 1. That means J is the board that just is the board I need. Actually, board is the board I need still. So then I just need to get the score of, right? I just need to find the score of that board. So I will do check board numbers sub I comma board score equals print part 2 score. Let's see if that works. I feel like that has a chance. I should check on my example input first. 1924? 1924. Let's try it. Got it. Okay, that was much faster. So let me go back and just walk through what I do here. From the start, I'm going to read in my lines, and then the first line I'm going to grab is numbers. I just grab the line, I split it on comma, I map int over each object, so I've got a list of string numbers, I just turn them into ints, and then I turn it back into a list, and that's my numbers. Now I do this thing with boards where I'm going to loop over every line from 2 to the end. So I'm skipping the first one with the numbers and the second one, which is blank. And I'm going, if the line has numbers on it, has anything other than new line, other than white space, I'm going to, I'm making an assumption here that there's always going to be 5 and then an empty line, 5 and an empty line. So then I take the line, I create numbers, I capture that, and I also start building out columns. And so I've got, over the course of those 5 lines, I'm going to add 5 rows to the board, and I'm also going to build out 5 more columns. And then when I get to an empty line, I'm going to add the columns to the board as well. So now I'll have 10, 5 rows, 5 columns. I'm going to append the board to my list of boards. And then I'm going to reset boards and columns. And then I'm going to do it again at the end here, just in case there's no new line at the end. Then I'm going to create, for part 2, I need to be able to just track if every board has a win in it. So I'm going to create an array that is the same length as boards that starts all as false. Now I'm going to loop over, I've got my function here, check boards. So this is just how I'm going to calculate the score of a board if it wins. So, and basically I'm going to loop over each of, again, I call this row, but it's rows and columns in board. And then if so if I look up, take all of the n in a row and they're all in nums, then it's good and it wins. And so that's when I come over here and I get just the rows out of the board and I loop over them with a double loop here to unnest that. Maybe that's useful to show real quick. You can show it here. So if I have 1, 2, 3, let's see, I've got a list of list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And what I really want is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I want that. Right? So I can do, if I've got this, let's say it's x equals that. So I can do I for I in x. And that's just going to return me the same thing, right? It's going to return me x. But now what I really want to do, instead of saying for I in x, I'm going to say j for j in I. And now I can come put j here. And what this is doing is it's going to take each row out of here. So it's going to do this one, then this one, then this one. And then it's going to loop over each object in that. So j for each, so that'll be I, will be this list 1, 2, 3. And so j will be 1, 2, and 3. And then it will be 4, 5, and 6. And so then I can just unnest my loop that way. But hopefully that makes sense. So all of this right here is just unnesting, let's see, up to here is just unnesting. First of all, it's only grabbing half the board, so I get the numbers once. Then it's unnesting them into just a list of all the numbers on the board. But then I say if j not in nums, so I'm taking the ones that haven't been called yet, and so that'll give me just that list. Sum it up, get that, and then the last number called is just the last number in nums. And if otherwise, it just returns false. Okay, so now win equals true. I'm not even sure I need that anymore. I'm not checking that anywhere because that was useful when I wanted to end after the first win. But, oh, no, it is useful because I check it here. Okay, so win equals false. So is there any win? I just want to track that here. Now I'm going to start going through my numbers. And I start at 5 because you can't win with less than 5 numbers. And I'm going to go up to the length of numbers. And then I'm going to say for j board and enumerate boards. And the reason I have to do the j is because I just want to keep track of what number board I'm on. And so then I can check right away. If board number j is already 1, just continue. I don't need to keep checking it. Otherwise, I'll get the score. And the score is either going to be a number or it's going to be false if I haven't won yet. And so if it's a number, then I'm going to set that board to having 1. And if all of the boards have 1, then I know that's the last one. So I'm going to get the score of that one and print it for part 2. Also, if none of the boards have 1 yet, I will print the score out because that's part 1. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end, and I will talk to you next time.